This last video is going to be about using the power of Google Spreadsheets in order to create a formula that helps us predict some values. So remember, we made this regression model here. It is a linear regression model. We have the equation of the line here. And what I want to know is, like, when I'm absent for 6 days, what should I expect to get on my exam? So number one, I can just hover over it and say, like, when X is 2, so when I'm absent for 2 days, I would get a 72% potentially on my exam. Or if I'm absent for 4.9 days, I'll get about a 52% on my exam. So the problem with this is that I can't exactly get an exact number. And yes, I can estimate. But because I have this equation, I'd like to be able to just know what I should expect. So quick review. If we have a linear equation, that's y equals mx plus b form. Remember, this is called slope-intercept form, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. And in our equation, which was given to us, the value of m will be the coefficient of x. So our value of m, or our slope, is negative 6.399. So here I'm going to put negative 6.399. Our y-intercept is the constant, right? The value at the end, which in this case is 84.064. So 84.064. Okay, so yes, if I wanted to know, like, what exam should I expect, or what score should I expect if I'm absent for 6 days, so I would end up doing, I would substitute 6 in for x to solve for y, because I'd be absent for 6 days, which is our x variable. So ultimately, I'd end up doing negative 6.399 times 6, and then I would add 84.064. Yes, I can type that into a calculator and find it, but what if I wanted to constantly change this, and now I wanted to know if I was absent for 10 days, what would I expect? You'd have to have this be negative 6.399 times this time 10, and then you'll add 84.064, and we keep doing that. So what I actually want to do is I'm going to create a formula where this cell will do these two operations, where it multiplies times this number and then adds 84.064. And then I'm going to keep changing this, and this will keep changing its value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the cell, and I want this cell to equal negative 6.399, which is this number here, times, so I'll put a multiplication symbol, and it'll be times our variable x, which will be in this cell here, and then I will add 84.064, which we can find here. So again, this is taking my slope, multiplying it times the input, which is the number of days that you're absent, and then adding the constant. Hit enter, and you see that you would get a 20.074. If I was absent for 1 day, I would get a 77.665. If I was absent for 2 days, I would get a 71.266% on the exam. If I was absent for 5.5 days, whatever that means, then I would get a 48.8695% on the exam. So this is a basic way of turning these numbers into an equation that works for any number that I plug in, even if it ends up making absolutely no sense.